Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are diving into something that is absolutely essential for pretty much any app you'll ever build, a form. It's how you hear from your users, how you get data, and honestly, it's the core of so much interaction. We're going to break down how to build them the right way.
So, just take a second and think about it. Every app on your phone, from the biggest social network to the simplest utility, what's the one thing they all have in common?
You got it. They need a way to hear from you. It could be a login form, a search bar, a sign-up page, a settings screen. Apps are a two-way street, and that conversation almost always starts with a form. So here's our game plan. We'll figure out what our ideal form needs. Then we'll get into the secret sauce, the controlled component pattern. After that, we'll jump right into the code, piece by piece. We'll wire it up in our app, and then we'll talk about why this skill is such a game changer. All right, first up, let's talk about the form itself. We're going to build a simple but really robust contact form from the ground up, the kind of thing you'd find in almost any professional app. So what does a good form need? Well, obviously, we need some input fields for the user's data. But we can't just trust whatever they type, right? So we'll build in some validation. And if something is wrong, we need to give them clear, friendly error messages. Finally, that submit button needs to be smart. It should tell the user when it's working and when the submission is complete. Okay, now for what I think is the most critical concept today, the controlled component pattern. This is a classic in the React world, and it's all about making sure there is one and only one source of truth for all the data in your form. So what does single source of truth really mean? It's simple. Our component state, not the text input itself, is in charge. DUI, what the user sees, is just a reflection of what's in our state. Whatever is in the state is what's on the screen. No confusion, no guessing. It's predictable. And this little table here, this shows the magic loop. Check it out. The user types something into the UI. That action immediately triggers a function that updates our named state. As soon as React sees that state change, it re-renders the component, and the text input now displays the new value from the state. It's this perfect continuous circle where the state is always driving what the user sees. Okay, enough theory. Let's get our hands dirty and look at the actual code that makes all this happen. We're going to dissect this form line by line. And it all begins with state. Using the useState hook, we're basically setting up little boxes to hold our information. We've got one for the name, one for the email, and, this is super important, an object to keep track of any validation errors. This state is the brain of our entire form. And this is how we connect that brain to the UI. Look at these two props on the text input. The value prop is a one-way street from our state to the input. It tells the input what to show. Then, on change text is the one-way street back. It listens for every keystroke and sends the new text back to update our state. These two working together is what makes the component controlled. Now, before we let the user submit, we got to make sure the data is good. So we run this validation function. It's just a simple checklist. Is the name field filled out? Is the email actually a valid email? Is the message long enough? For every check that fails, we add a little note to an errors object. Then we update our error state, and poof, the error messages instantly appear on the screen. The handle submit function is like the conductor of an orchestra. First, it runs our validation. If there are any errors, it just stops right there. But if everything looks good, it sets a loading state, maybe disabling the button and showing a spinner, which is great for user experience. Then it pretends to send the data off somewhere. And once it's done, it flips a switch to show a success message. It handles the whole lifecycle beautifully. So we've built this amazing self-contained form component, but right now it's just sitting in a file, totally isolated. Let's bring it to life and actually plug it into our app so a user can get to it. First things first, we need to tell our app's navigation system that this new screen even exists. It's super simple. We just import our form screen and add it to our stack.screen list. We give it a name, we'll just call it form, and point it to our component. That's it. Now our app knows this screen is available. And the final piece of the puzzle, we need a doorway. So on our home screen, we'll just drop in a button. The key is the onPress handler. We just tell it, hey, when someone taps this, navigate to the screen named form. Now a user can tap the button and be taken right to the form we just built.
And that's it. We have a real, working, validated form. But what we've really done is learn a foundational skill. Seriously, understanding this pattern is like unlocking a developer superpower.
So let's do a quick recap. We learned how to use useState to be the single source of truth for our inputs. We made a separate validate function to keep our logic clean. We used a submit handler to manage the whole user flow, from loading to success. Oh, and we made sure to use keyboard avoiding view so the keyboard doesn't hide our inputs. Super important. And finally, we wired it all into our app's navigation. And really think about this for a second. Login screens, sign-up flows, checkout pages, feedback forms, editing your profile. They are everywhere. They are the backbone of almost every interactive feature you can think of. And now you know the core pattern to build any of them. So remember, what you learned today isn't just about building a single contact form. It's a blueprint, it's a pattern you can use over and over again for any kind of user input. You have the skill. So the only question left is, what are you going to build with it?